Hey there, awesome physics students. Let's talk about how to measure current in circuits. Now, we saw before that to measure voltage in circuits, you needed to place the multimeter, which is a device like this. You need to place that multimeter in parallel with the item across which you're trying to measure the voltage difference. Here, we're going to use a different model. Of course, current is flow, so we have to connect this in a different way. We cannot put it in parallel with the item because you can't measure the current that way. The first step to measuring current is to look at your device and see some devices actually need you to take the voltage probe out and place it in a different socket in order for it to measure current successfully. So you need to check your device. You may or may not have to do that depending on the device. Okay, so let's talk about how to measure current. We have this circuit here, which is two resistors, resistor R1 and R2. And let's say we want to measure the current that's flowing through the first resistor. Well, that current is going to come out of the battery and it's going to go in the first resistor, and then it's going to come out of the first resistor, and then it's going to go into the second resistor and out of the second resistor and then go back into the battery. So we expect that the currents of these should be the same. Now, how do you measure this? Well, you can't measure it the way it is here. You have to actually break the circuit here because you need to reroute all of the current into our device here so that it can be measured. So you want all of the current to come out of the battery. Then you're going to take all of the current and send it through the multimeter, which is going to be in current measuring mode, often called an ammeter. Then you want all of that current to go through the ammeter, and then it's going to all go out of the ammeter, and then you want it to go back into the circuit so that it will go through the first resistor and the second resistor. So what we're doing is here, if you look at how this is arranged, the current goes out, it all goes into the ammeter, then it flows out of the ammeter, back into the circuit, through the first resistor, out of the first resistor, into the second resistor, out of the second resistor, and then finally back into the negative terminal of the battery. In this case, the ammeter is in series with the resistor, and you can see that I'm measuring the ammeter is measuring the current through the first resistor and the second resistor. It's all the same current. Okay, so hopefully this helps you. This really helped me tremendously when I understood how to measure current. It helped me understand what the difference between current and voltage is because they behave very differently. Let's say we have another circuit here where we have two resistors and that are in parallel with each other, and we want to measure the current through the first resistor, R1. So I have R1 and R2. But I want to measure only the current that passes through here. Now in this case, the current that comes out of the battery is going to split into two currents. The first current that goes through R1 and the second current that goes through R2. And that split occurs at this junction here. So to measure this, what you need to do is break the circuit right there, route all of the current through the ammeter. So all of the current through the first resistor. So I1 is going to all go through the ammeter, and then I1 is going to come out of the ammeter and back into the circuit here. So it's going to flow, it's going to split here, and I2 will be completely unaffected by this ammeter. But I1 will all flow through the ammeter and then flow through R1. So in this case, you're breaking the circuit and you're putting the ammeter in series with that resistor through which you want to measure the current. And you can see here that if I measure the current through R1 versus measuring the current through R2, I'm going to, in general, get different values if I measure it through R1 or R2 because of the way that they're connected. The connections are not the same. Whereas here, the current that flows through the first resistor is going to be the same as the current that flows through the second resistor. So my point here is that understanding how to measure current is actually very important because it helps you understand what current is and how it behaves in circuits. All right?